Roger John Madden, sitting in the center of Parque Zamora in Veracruz, Heroica, Veracruz, the port. And the actual port is about a mile east of me here at the Gulf of Mexico. But Parque Zamora is the center of the downtown, and it's very enchanted. And yesterday on Friday, it was very occupied and enjoyed. People on all the park benches. Veracruz doesn't have a town square exactly like so many wonderful Mexican towns and cities do, but this is it as much as anything. A center of tranquility in the middle of, down here, the business center of Veracruz, right next to the historic downtown, which is so old and so gorgeous. And I've been saying that I'm leaving Veracruz tomorrow, but it just hit me as I was sitting here that I'm actually leaving Veracruz today, because tomorrow I'm going to the neighboring town of Boca Del Rio, which is where the great beaches are, and has the unfortunate town slogan of El Mejor de Veracruz, the better part of Veracruz. I really want to say to them, drop that stupid slogan. You're not better. You're not better than Veracruz. You're not better than the El Centro downtown with its thriving chaos of marketplaces. You're not better than the port area, which is so enchanted. You're different. You're more upscale. You've got a lot more money. So for upscale tourists, there's one lovely guy in one of the Boca Del Rio offices said to me, he said, it's better for tourists. Well, it's better for the upscale tourists who want great hotels and great restaurants, but there's some awesome restaurants down here too. So don't claim to be better, you're just different. So, as it hit me here on this park bench that I really am leaving Veracruz now, today, going up to Boca Del Rio, and from there taking a vacation in what has been a 4.5-year vacation on non-stop travel starting in Asheville, North Carolina. Taking a real vacation because I'm going off track. My target is way out east at the end of the Yucatan Peninsula, the Riviera Maya, where all the fabulous resorts are. And I have my one genuine old friend on the island of Cozumel. I'm looking her up. But Orizaba, the magical pueblo of Orizaba, has enchanted me already. And I have to go spend most of the next month there. And then I will double back up here and head east. Through what is the first genuinely dangerous part of my trip. I've been warned. Don't stop for 10 hours. Get to Campeche. Don't spend the night anywhere else because you will be in danger. And if you stop in the wrong place on the way along, you'll be in danger. I'm not worried about that, but it's bracing. It gets my attention. So I want to celebrate. My impulse is to celebrate my whole 4.5-year trip now. Or at least to celebrate my whole 11 months in Mexico, but that's going to be a 50-minute video, which none of us has the patience for. I want to just do some of the highlights that are washing over me from my time in the port here and the neighboring town of Boca Del Rio. But I guess I'm probably going to focus just on the port. I arrived in the port on Noche Viejo, the night before New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. I didn't even know if they were going to celebrate it down here in Mexico, my first one. But I came down from Jalapa, which is a spectacular, stunning city high up in the mountains, capital of the state of Veracruz. Charming and quaint, like I speculate so many places in Europe are. Old. One of the oldest spots in Mexico where the Spaniards came. And the first time I pulled off the road in what was clearly a beach town, flat, happy party atmosphere, as opposed to difficult driving and congestion in Jalapa. I got out of the car, and a big pickup truck went by with a huge Bluetooth bocina speaker pumping out great music, and 10 big strapping guys in drag dancing down the street celebrating Noche Viejo. I said, oh yeah, this is a different vibe than the big bustling metropolis of Jalapa. And that set the tone. I wanted to find a place to really celebrate New Year's Eve once I realized it was a deal here. And around 11 o'clock at night, I stumbled on a street party with a huge stage that had been created. I've been forever trying to find the spot where that happened. I still haven't been able to pin down exactly where they created that party place, with hundreds of people dancing, astonishing bands one after another for several hours. And I went over the moon dancing there. Some of the time just with myself. A couple of times with very gorgeous women who chose to dance with me. What a high. What a high that was. I want to celebrate all the times I spent on the harbor by the naval base. El Muelle is the big pier that got built in 1900. Over the course of several years, there's a museum with huge statues commemorating that process, which took the oldest port in Mexico and made it into such a powerful and central port for shipping primarily, and Navy. No cruise ships docking there. And not many international tourists in Veracruz. I still, in my 11 months in Mexico, I think it's actually true to say I have not encountered one American tourist here. I've encountered Americans who came back here because their family is here to visit them. But a genuine American tourist, no. And very few fluent English speakers. A lot of people who have a little bit of English and want to try it out on me, including the old farmer riding by me on a donkey who knew I was the gringo in town in El Diamante, 400-person pueblo, which is so enchanted. This old guy riding by on a donkey looks at me and yells, I think the only English he could come up with, he said, "Thank you!" Wow, I'm gonna cry. That summarizes my time. Gracias a Dios. And in El Diamante, when you'd ask somebody how they were, they'd say muy bien, very good, classic, or bien, or bien. But they would, almost all of them, follow it by saying gracias a Dios. They give thanks to God. And there's a big thing in Mexico of the Catholics versus the Pentecostals, and the Pentecostals have all the momentum. And in that little town, there were 2 Pentecostal churches, and 2 different Pentecostal guys I talked to when they'd say, well, where do you go to church? And I'd say, well, I'm not Christian. I was raised Christian, and Jesus is one of my teachers, but not actually the most powerful teacher of my adult years. And they'd say, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. It doesn't matter where you go to church, whether you're Pentecostal or Catholic. It's love of God. And I learned that there. And here, because people say the same thing here. In Veracruz, actually up in Boca Del Rio, which was my place to get back to the ocean after 4 months away, I encountered a iconic woman. This is going to be, of all the, I'm starting to create a file and videos about my favorite people in Mexico, the people I want never to forget. Well, one I never will forget is a woman who has, her name is Lady. So to me, she's the iconic ocean woman who's mastered the mysteries of the ocean, which has been my teacher for 2 years. I thought the mountains in Appalachia were my teacher, and they were at the time, but the ocean even more powerfully. And I encountered her driving a 94 Volkswagen bus that she uses as the vehicle for Conoce Veracruz, her little hippie outfit that offers kayaking training and paddleboard and stuff like that, but primarily kayaking. And I took a kayaking class from her, but she got the other students out on their kayaks, their little plastic kayaks, and took me out separate. And she was on a paddleboard, standing unshaken by they were gentle waves that morning. But she's tall and muscular and not pretty in a traditional way, handsome really. And I've learned over the last 4.5 years that bisexual that I claimed to be over the last 5 years, the real pocket for me is either gorgeous men or maybe transvestite even, or really masculine women. And she's it. What a proud, gorgeous woman. And it was the last genuine encounter I had with her, was the two of us out on the water, her guiding me on the paddleboard and me in my kayak. And it was my first experience being on a boat on El Mar, the ocean, and that just infected me. Oh my God, wherever I end up,